Hello friends, welcome back to CCSP Certified channel. Today I am going to cover evidence management, a topic part of both CISSP and CCSP. CISSP is part of domain 7 and CCSP domain 6. And if you are new to my channel, I would like to inform that I have already covered 4 topics before this. Those are cryptography, IAM, cloud characteristics, and risk in the cloud. Topic 4, Topic 5, I started as important laws and standard. It is lecture 5 of this. So I have already covered over 70% syllabus so far of the CCSP exam. And my focus in this video series is to cover high probability exam topics, difficult exam concept, because soundness of concept is very important to clear any of the ISC2 exam. Questions from various sources. One of the important source of my questions is my exam candidates feedback, memory based questions, CCSP question bank and sample question banks available over the internet. So I try to cover the questions from these sources in this video series, and definitely to the point discussion because time is limited. I will try to use my vast 14 years of industry experience, CCSP certificate learnings and other cloud certification knowledge to make things simple and easy for you. My goal is to help you get further faster in your CCSP exam preparation or certification. So I quickly cover the classroom programs I conduct. So next batch I'm conducting from 15 November onward. It will be a month or so batch, will be 4 days a week in morning 8 a.m. to 9:15 a.m. IST. It will be 10th batch I'm starting. So many candidates ask me, do I need to join any regular class or the YouTube study is sufficient? So YouTube study is free and sufficient. But if you want comprehensive and effective approach that has worked for me and my candidate, if you want to learn that, you may join my regular batches or purchase self-paced recordings also. I do provide classroom recordings and recorded the sessions with nominal rates. If you want, you can purchase those also, or you can be connected with me on YouTube. I will cover all the syllabus in over the time. So if you're interested for these regular batches or the self-paced recording, you can write me at the ccsp-certified at the gmail.com or WhatsApp me on this number +91 83700811064. I quickly covered the couple of candidates who cleared exam last month, this month. And one of them is John D'Souza, other was Pritam Panda. I have already posted their LinkedIn stories on my LinkedIn channel, success story in my LinkedIn channel. You can refer them. Both has purchased the self-paced training program for me and cleared in just couple of months time. So I quickly cover the peace of mind activity. It is a promotional activity by ISC2. So it is more like buy one get one. In case you fail in first attempt, you will have a free second attempt if you purchase voucher with the peace of mind promotional code. So this time the activity says that if you purchase voucher by 31st of October, you can write first attempt by November 30. In case you need a second attempt, you can still avail that by January 25. So they charge some nominal fees of so this time they are charging $199. Sometimes they don't charge any fees. So based on the every month they release new offer, you watch them, and I suggest always go with the peace of mind offer. Most of the time you clear in the first attempt only when you go with the relaxed mind. So come the topic of the day. So I will cover the some admissible evidence concept, type of evidences, and the legal terms associated with the evidence. And this is not the first time I'm teaching the evidence. I have already covered two lectures, lecture 28, which is e-discovery in litigation hold, and lecture 29, which is digital forensics related topics, which I already covered this uh, evidence part. So do watch them before watching this. I'm not covering uh, what is already covered. I'm covering what is extra, and this is based on the feedback I have received from my candidate like Pritam and John that this type of questions also coming. So I have decided to prepare this topic also in this legal and laws section. So first thing is, what is admissible evidence? So we have already seen that civil, administrative, or the criminal proceedings, and we have seen this evidence play a very important role when there is a litigation happens, when there is a lawsuit is being filed. So it is a more uh, a legal terminologies we will discuss here in this video. We don't expect direct questions from those terminologies, but they help many times in exam to solving the questions, because CCSP exam and CISSP exam language is relatively tough, and they expect you aware about all these jargons. So when when we consider the evidence to be admissible in the court, it must be fulfill three properties. First one is it must be relevant. So it applies to the matters in the questions. Whatever the matters going on, it should be relevant to that one. It should be material, means it is related. It is not that even though it is a evidence, but it is not linked. So if it is not linked, we call it is, if it is a link, then we call it a material evidence. And should be competent, means it must be obtained legally. So you must have a valid evidence, but if you have obtained it with wrong practices, then it is not also admissible in the court. So these three properties is very important property. For any evidence you collect, it must be part of these three property, then only it will be admissible in the court. Now, what are the types of the evidences in the legal terms? So NIST SP 886 has provided a proper guide to intricate forensic techniques, and they have covered this type of the evidences also. You can read them in detail if you are interested, but the following summary is good enough to understand the type of the evidences. The first time is a real evidence. This actually used in the crime. So like murder weapon, in the normal scenario we see it is a real evidence. Same way in the cloud environment, some data from RAM it is collected, some snapshot taken, or hard disk sieged. All these are the real evidence. This is a real data that is being used during the crime. Then there is a documentary evidence. They are part of documents uh, like logs, any agreement. So these are documentary evidence. There are two subcategories of this one: the base evidence and the parole evidence. So base evidence is presented in form of original form, not the copy. So when in the court you present evidence, a documentary evidence in the original form, it is known as a base evidence. The parole evidence. So any agreement between the parties must be written, not oral. This part of the parole evidence. If any oral commitment is not admissible in the court, it must be a written agreement between the parties. That's known as a parole evidence. There are testimonial evidence. Testimonial is eyewitness who confirm that I have seen this or I have noticed this. So either verbal or written evidences of this testimonial evidences. There are also two types: direct and hearsays. Direct is witness provide direct observation, and second is if it is if it is third party, I mean I did not see or heard directly, but someone told me. So when a police submit a report that someone committed a crime and accepted against police, it is hearsay one. But court does not accept this. Only in certain circumstances this is being accepted. Majority of the cases, third party evidences are not being directly admissible in the court. But if in case you given the statement in case in front of any judge, in front of courts, then those are acceptable even though it is third party or seen or heard evidences. Then last one is demonstrative evidence. Then you demonstrate, like do some live scenario or some architecture diagram or some concept you explain. This is demonstrative evidences. There are some legal terms related to the evidences. This good to know, because in exam some of the options they may have it, though it may not be right option, but in case you don't know this you get confused. Then first one is voluntary surrender. When there is evidence there and person who owns the evidence, he surrender for himself or provide the grant or consent to search, then it is a voluntary surrender. I have evidence, I am ready to surrender my evidences. Then subpoena, that is a written court order to give the evidence to surrender evidence or surrender evidence. When you don't voluntary surrender, court may give a written order to submit you those evidences. Then search warrant, in case you don't submit those evidences, the court may issue a search warrant that will authorize the law enforcement agencies or officers to conduct a search of a person. Then there's a plain view doctrine. What it says that, let's say a law enforcement officers went for investigation and it found evidence like a piece of paper or blood sample or wallets, then they may seize evidence that is visible to the officer in the plain view. So they did not perform any other operation, they simply visited and they found the evidence. They may collect and seize that evidence. This is part of the plain view doctrine. Then extradition, so it is more like a um, handover of the criminals. So it is surrender of an alleged criminal, usually under the provision of a treaty or a statute by an authority. So normally we ask that hand over us Dawood Ibrahim or now Vijay Mallya. So those part of the extradition treaties we have. Then there's a production, very important term. Uh, so production is not like a production environment. Anything which can be brought to the court as evidence known as a production in the legal terms. So don't get confused with the production keyword when you see in the exam in the legal related questions. So this is part of the theory. We'll see how what type of questions may be asked from this question, this topic, and I will cover one exam question also that I have seen by my candidate, though it is not directly same to same written, but it is being crafted that it will give you idea of the exam. So we are not violating the ISC score norms also, and we are able to cover the concept also. So I will cover that in the last final question. So first four question will be more part of this topic. The first one that is from CISP question bank. Frank is considering the use of different type of evidences in upcoming criminal matters. Which one of the following is not a prerequisite for evidence to be admissible in the court? So whenever you watch this video, my suggestion is better you read the question, pause the video, read the options and give the answer before I give the answer. So I have seen that evidence has three properties. It should be relevant, it should be material, and it should be competent. Then only option given is tangible. It's not necessary that evidence must be tangible. It can be intangible also. And this answer C is the correct answer for this question. The next one, when presented evidence in the court, is important to compare the integrity value of the any copied material against. So let's say any copied data, snapshot data is being submitted to the court, and it should be compared against whom for the integrity. So very sometime the CCSP and CISSP exam ask common sense based question. So they don't need you to be expert or they have idea of the topic. Even you can able to give the answer based on the common sense. So here the same question, if any copy is being used and it need a integrity check, definitely the original source should be used to compare this part of the best evidence source. So it should not be industry standard or another copy or backup. They can compare for the integrity. It is the original form of the data they can compare for the integrity part. And the next one, which of the following aspect of the virtualization make the technology useful for the evidence collection? In the cloud, the virtualization help in the evidence collection. Who can help? Is it hypervisor? Is it pooled resources, snapshotting, or live migration? So we have seen that it can be a real evidence weapon. Snapshotting can be used to collect the real data at the time of the crime has happened or any evidence need to be collected. A snapshot is taking the snapshot of the virtual instance and keep the system running for the further processing of the data or further operation, and we can take the snapshot of the time the incident has happened to reanalyze or to use it as evidence later. When stroke, Virat Kohli's very famous word. When stroke is a system administrator is testifying in the court about a cybercrime incident. He brings server logs to support his testimony. What type of evidence are the server logs? So we have seen that server logs are the written evidences and part of the documentary evidence. So it is not a real evidence, parallel evidence or testimonial evidence. It's part of the documentary evidence. So this is part of our concept we have seen. The last question is part of exam question. sort of exam question by modifying the language, and it is part of the concept we have seen in the last two lectures. So we have seen the legal, that civil cases, criminal cases, and we have seen the evidence management. So let's say following the scenario when a online ebook seller organization employee will not face criminal cases in USA, under which cases? So under which cases there will be no criminal proceedings against a employee of a organizations who sells online ebooks like Flipkart or Amazon. So when employee sells credit card info to an organization outside of country. So we have seen that in US, credit card information is a part of PII, and selling the PII is part of the criminal evidence in the USA. So that definitely it will impose a criminal case to the employee. Employee hard is holding child pornography books or child pornography data. Definitely is also hold a criminal cases. Majority of the country, even in India also. Employee engaged in the sexual harassment of many co-workers and enough evidence is against him. So in that case also it is a criminal case because of the sexual harassment is a offense which treated as a criminal activities. Employee practice found non-compliant under industry standards. So if you are performing any industry standard and you are not compliant with that, definitely it is not a criminal case. It may be a civil case, administrative case, or may not be a case, just a reputation damage, or you lose that standard, like in case you are compliant with the PCI DSS, if you are credit card holder companies, or in case you are compliant with the NIST, if you are in the part of USA or ISO standard. If you are non-compliant to those standard, you may not face any criminal cases against you. So this will be the answer. So this type of scenario based question are also coming in the exam. If you are good in the concept that is being taught in the last couple of lectures, you will able to answer this. So this part of this video lecture